Goff Show, your look at Tiffin University football. I'm Russ Snyder, voice of the Dragons, alongside head coach Gary Goff. Coach, 2 games left. How you doing today?
2 games left. Can't believe it.
I know. Been flying through the fall schedule, boy. We got 2 games left and 2 very good opponents. But first, let's take a look back at last week's game against Michigan Tech. You know, I was had a chance to go on the radio with the Grand Valley State announcers this couple days ago, and the first thing they said was a heartbreaking loss. Said it twice. I'm like, boy, you hit it right on the head. Boy, that was a tough one. But, you know, you went toe-to-toe with the top 25 team in their house with tough circumstances. It wasn't the way you wanted it to finish off, but you got to be proud of the way your kids competed.
Oh, extremely proud. You know, that trip alone is almost an impossible trip. You know, you're talking about being 14 hours on a bus and then stopping every few hours makes it difficult
Yes,
as well.
sure it does.
You know, a tough trip, and on top of that, you're playing one of the best, you know, programs, you know, not only in the GLIAC but in the country right now. They've been ranked all year. I think as high as maybe 9th. They're sitting at 22 again this week. But they're a really good football program. They have been for quite some time. You know, they won the conference not too long ago. But, you know, all week we talked about let's just go up there and play extremely hard and see what happens. Let's enjoy playing the game. And I think the guys did exactly that. They played extremely hard for 4 quarters, and the game was decided on the very last play of the game in overtime. And things didn't go our way on that play, but, you know, I can definitely keep our head up high and say that I'm very proud of them. I told the guys the same thing. There's no shame in that game. We played a great football game and played a great team.
Well, the Dragons got on the scoreboard first in the first quarter. Antonio Pipkin, one of many touchdown passes on the day, found Tony Shedd from 4 yards out, an 11-play, 76-yard drive, and the Dragons took an early 7-0 lead.
Yeah, great opening drive right there. You know, they won the coin toss, deferred right there, so we got the ball. And, you know, I think that kind of set the tone for the rest of the day. Just a very, very good drive. We were sharp on all our throws. We were running the ball very hard right there. And great throw and catch in the end zone right there to cap the drive off to Tony.
The Dragons' only score of the first quarter was that touchdown pass to Tony Shedd. Michigan Tech got on the scoreboard a couple times. After the first quarter of play, the Dragons were down 14-7. But the Dragons cracked the scoreboard first in the second quarter. Charles Holland, one of 4 touchdown catches, the first one coming from Antonio Pipkin, 17 yards after 11-play, 77-yard drive, and the team now is tied it up at 14.
Yeah, those two right there are getting better and more chemistry, you know, every snap. But Charles is going to be a lot of fun to coach for many years ahead. But, yeah, another great throw and catch right there, you know, a little play action. And, you know, we knew their safeties were pretty aggressive. So I thought Pipkin put the ball exactly where he needed to be right there for an easy completion. Their DB was kind of hanging all over Charles right there for the score. But, you know, we'll take it.
20-14, the Dragons are down at the halftime. You go into the half, make your adjustments. You come out in the third quarter. Dragons crack the scoreboard again first. Again, it's Charles Holland from Antonio Pipkin. 35-yard touchdown pass after a 4-play, 70-yard drive. And now in the second half, early in the third quarter, your Dragons have a 1-point lead.
Yeah, you know, they made a little mistake in the secondary right there. And great job on Pipkin's part by seeing it, recognizing it, and throwing the ball to basically an uncovered receiver. So we like those easy scores. Makes it a little bit easier of a ball game, and makes it a great play call, you know.
Well, the Dragons, at the end of 3 quarters, are down 23-21. Moved into the fourth quarter, you crack the scoreboard again first. Tomislav Derezik, young man having an All-American type season. 23-yard field goal to cap a 6-play, 40-yard drive, and the Dragons now have a 24-23 lead.
Yeah, Tomislav's been Mr. Consistent all year, and no different on that play right there. Unfortunately, right there, we stalled just a little bit, missed an assignment right there, and then I had a penalty. But, again, if we can end drives scoring points, then we're fine. And it was great to see him get that on the board right there and ease a little bit of the pressure and, you know, basically, you know, take a 1-point lead.
Well, the Dragons down 31-24 into the final moments of the game with 38 seconds left. Antonio Pipkin finds Charles Holland from 8 yards out after an 8-play, 31-yard drive, and now we're all knotted up at 31, and we're going to head to overtime.
Yeah, exciting moment for us right there. You know, great throw, really good anticipation on Pipkin's part right there, seeing the safety kind of roll down, but then he was bailing back to get to Charles. But, you know, he threw him open right there in the back of the end zone. Charles did a great job not giving up on the play, fighting across, you know, the safety's back right there, making a great catch in the back of the end zone. So, you know, at that point right there, obviously everybody's pretty excited, but they'd been excited the entire ball game and played extremely hard. So really felt that when we took the ball right there after we pinned them deep with a punt, defense got a 3-and-out. We had great field position. There's no doubt in my mind that we were not going to score right there. So, you know, kudos to the team right there. Defense getting the stop and offense doing a good job of getting points on the board to tie it up.
You mentioned the energy there. Boy, your sideline had a great energy from this opening kickoff to the end of overtime that game. Your kids were so in tune to that ball game. It was great to see from the press box.
Well, you know, it's too tough of a game not to go out there and have a lot of fun. You know, if you can't go out there and have a lot of fun playing the game, win, lose, or draw, basically, then why? Why put in all this hard work and off-season training by these young men? So that was our message to them all week, and I thought they did exactly that. They went out and enjoyed themselves. So when we got to overtime, I pulled everybody together and asked them, "Are you guys having fun?" And everybody's like, "Are you kidding me? This is awesome."
Well, we were having fun too.
Well, so are we. But I think they realized if we play hard, anything is possible. So we got to continue to do the same thing.
Overtime rolls around. The Dragons will get the ball first, and they march it right into the end zone. Antonio Pipkin finds Charles Holland from 10 yards out, and the Dragons take a 38-31 lead, but Michigan Tech's yet to get the ball.
Very proud of them right there. We overcame a penalty right there. They called a penalty against us. Then a couple plays later, it's an offsetting penalty where people were pulling each other off the pile, which is a new rule this year. If you're pulling somebody off the pile, that's going to be a personal foul, 15-yarder, and if anything else happens, you're dismissed from the ball game. And, so anyway, we overcame a penalty right there, and maybe the penalty actually helped us, gave us a little bit more room to throw the ball right there. But a phenomenal throw and catch by those two, again, for their fourth hookup of the game.
Well, it's 38-31 Dragons. Michigan Tech gets the ball. They are able to get in the end zone. They talk it over, and they decide, you know what, we're going to go for two. We're going to try to put this one away right here, right now. Were you a little surprised they went for two?
Not really, because we had scored the previous two drives. They'd had a little bit of difficulty with us the entire day, and afterwards, Tom, their head coach, told me, because Coach, we had to go for two because we couldn't stop you, and so it makes sense. We knew they were going to do it. We called timeout to set up the perfect defense. We had the perfect defense call. We really did, but just didn't execute it. They made a really good play right there. He dove for the end zone and barely got in. So you're talking about a game of inches right there. It truly was a game of inches, and it all came down to that one play.
Well, the Dragons fall 39-38 on the road in overtime against a top 25 team in conference play. Look at some of the other players that we mentioned. Jerry Brown, huge game, 22 carries, 166 yards. Tomislav Derezik, again, 5 for 5 on extra points in their field goal. And Josh Breebank, your punter, able to pin him twice inside the 20-yard line with this punt. So those three guys had great games.
They did. There's a long list of guys that had really good games.
I have a defensive list here too.
No, so it was just they went out and played hard, and that's what it's all about. We might face a team that's bigger, faster, and stronger, has more talent, but if we play hard, we got a chance. And this week against Grand Valley is going to be no different. I mean, Grand Valley is a very, very talented team, and if we don't go out there and play hard on every down, then we're going to be in trouble. What
about your freshman corners right now playing? Juwan Nelson and Carrington Conti both playing really good football for you.
Juwan, we moved him to safety, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and he is getting better with every snap. He's going to be a really good safety for us. And then, Carrington right there, he's really only played in 2 games.
Yeah.
So he's a young buck right there, and he's learning. The game speed is a lot more difficult than practice, but both of them got to have great week this week against Grand Valley because they got 3 receivers and they're really, really good.
Talk a little bit about a couple of your more experienced leaders on your defense as well, Stephon Willis and Morgan Lloyd. Defense really seems to be a little different when those two are on the field.
Well, Willis is getting better with every snap too. He didn't play for us last year. Basically took his redshirt year, came back this year playing. So, we've seen a lot of improvement from him from week 1 to where we're at this point of the year. So we're lucky to have him for another season. He's going to be a tremendous player for us. I truly believe that. And, obviously getting, Morgan back, on defense. He's kind of our quarterback on defense, gets everybody lined up. So, that defense unit plays a lot better with him on the field, that's for sure.
Well, you mentioned Grand Valley. That's who the Dragons have. The Lakers coming into town this Saturday for a huge game. It's Veterans Appreciation Day, so it's going to be great to see some of the local veterans there getting recognized. And we're talking about some of the things we'll have happening on campus next week. But let's talk about Grand Valley State. As we say, they lost to a very good Ashland team last week. They fall to number 17 in the rankings, still sitting in second place in the GLIAC North. And the Dragons take care of our business, have a legitimate chance to finish number 2 in the GLIAC South. So this is an interesting matchup for your kids and just a huge football game, senior day as well.
For sure. I mean, not only are we playing one of the premier programs, in our conference, but, in the country. I think everybody knows that. They're a very, very talented football team. They're very well coached. They don't make that many mistakes. The Ashland game, Ashland's a great football team too. And, Ashland, kind of kept them off balance all day. They really did. But, Grand Valley knows they got to come in here and take care of business themselves to get into the playoffs. So we know they're going to be ready to play, but I'm always more concerned about our Dragons than I am our opponent. So, we've asked our guys all week, again, play extremely hard, enjoy playing in this type of game. They're obviously a program that's won national championships, won a lot of conference championships, and they're a program that I think everybody in the country is a little bit jealous of.
Sure.
So, we can't put them up on a pedestal by no means, even though we, know they're really, really good. But, we got to enjoy the moment of let's go out there and play them and give them our best effort and see what happens at the end of the game. And, again, I've said this a million times. If we do that, anything's possible.
Well, one of the big matchups in the game is going to be their pass offense against our passing defense. They have a young quarterback, Bart Williams, but he has a lot of talented receivers to go to.
Yeah, that young man, he's big, strong, very accurate, and Grand Valley's known for just, their play action and throw it about 80 yards downfield and let one of those great receivers go get it. Seems like every year they've got a receiver that is going to go to the league.
Well, Charles Johnson, that's there a couple years ago, I believe, is with the Vikings, I believe, right now, or somebody like he's
I've lost track, but I know he's in the league NFL somewhere. So our secondary's got to be sound. They got to keep their eyes out of the backfield when they're in man coverage, and then when they're in zone coverage, they got to do a good job of reading the quarterback's eyes. And we need to kind of steal one or two of those throws, and which was very possible. But they're talented, and we're going to have some one-on-one matchups all across the board on both sides of the ball that we're going to have to win some of those battles. If not, they're going to take advantage of it.
Well, another talented running back, Kirk Spencer for Grand Valley, does a lot of good things on their offensive side of the ball as well. Let's talk about defense. David Talley, linebacker, leading them in tackles. Like a couple of defensive backs in Marquez Goldman and Garrett Pugnet, I believe is his name, that also do a lot of good things and get a lot of tackles for them.
They create turnovers, and I believe they create a lot of their turnovers because of the pressure of their defensive line, and they got some defensive ends that can flat out run. They love to pass rush and get after you, and then their interior guys on the defense line are big, strong guys, very physical. So, our offensive line's going to have to do a great job in pass protection so that we can hold up and get to our second, third reads if we need to. And then outside of that, we got to be very similar to what we did a week ago. I mean, we must have a run game. We got to establish a run game. A year ago, Grand Valley kept our offense off the field. I think we had 46 snaps. So, if you remember, they went out there, they let the play clock run all the way down to about 5 seconds, then they snapped the ball.
Yep.
And they sustained some very long drives. We only had the ball for maybe a minute, 40 seconds in that first quarter a year ago. So, I don't know if their game plan will be that much different. Hillsdale was very similar, trying to keep us off the field. And I do the same thing. I try to keep Pipkin off the field as well.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned Antonio Pipkin. His name littered all across the Tiffin University record books now and the GLIAC record books as well. He's been a special football player for you, and I'm sure one of the things that you like most about Antonio is that he makes the other players better when he's out there on the field with as well.
He does. We've talked about that as a staff. If he's playing well, not only is our offense players well, but, our defense is going to be playing well as well. So he is a lot of fun to coach. The thing I love about him is that he's very coachable. And he's eager to get better, and he knows this as well as us. There's still a lot of improvement for that young man, and that's what makes it fun because right now he still is one of the top quarterbacks in the country, and he can still get so much better. So, we're excited to have him, obviously. But, going back to what we have to do offensively, we got to sustain drives and keep him on the field.
Yep. Keep the turnovers to a minimal. 0 would be perfect. And like you said, keep our offense on the field and keep their offense on the sideline. It's a 1:30 start this Saturday at home, Frost Cow Stadium. Don't forget veterans. All veterans get in free, absolutely free. There'll be special events going on. The chili cook-off, I believe, is this weekend as well. So no reason not to get down to Frost Cow taking the final home game, senior day, for the Tiffin University Dragons. And senior day is always a very special event, isn't it?
It is. I mean, these seniors, they've been with us, the whole time, and that was really one of our first true classes.
That's true. I didn't think about that part of it.
Yeah, so it'll be an emotional day for some of those guys. But I tell you what, these seniors love them to death. They've been with us through thick and thin. They've seen the really tough times. They've seen us get better, and we will continue to get better because of this group right here. And, Jesse Stout, all of them. Pedro, he's been here for 5 years now. He's our only redshirt senior. But it will be a very emotional day. They mean a lot to this program. They've done a lot of things for us. But not only that, these seniors are great young men. They really are. They're special guys.
Go get them Saturday, Coach.
All righty.
He's Gary Goff. I'm Russ Snyder. This has been the Gary Goff Show. Our look at Tiffin University football, part of the Tiffin University Broadcast Network.